A teen from the Plains is still missing after a week with no contact with family and friends. A new women's recovery house is coming to Athens, and there's a way you can help it succeed.
And in sports, Ohio women's basketball dominates Notre Dame College in a morning matchup. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
A 16-year-old girl from the Plains has been missing for 8 days. Good evening, I'm Lily Bradley. Thanks for joining us. The Athens County Sheriff's Office is still searching for the whereabouts of Jessica Smith. The Sheriff's Office made this post on Facebook back on November 9th. The post reads that on November 8th, Jessica ran away from home and has not been located. The Sheriff's Office said they have not been able to contact her mother after several attempts. On November 11th, a deputy went to the hotel she was allegedly staying at, but they did not find her. We talked with Jessica's friend Asha Dexter to see what she thinks happened. Dexter texted with Jessica on November 9th before she knew the teen was missing, and she read some of those messages to WOUB.
I said, "Why ain't you home? I need you." She said, I left because I want to be happy. She said, "I'm sorry you need me, but I need you too, but we can't be hanging out because I left so I could be happy." And then she hasn't been active since.
Dexter says she hasn't heard from her since. Before she ran away, Jessica lived in this trailer with her mother, stepdad, and younger sister.
Well, I want to say, if she is hearing this, that she has friends and family that would help her out. I'd try and help her out the best I could and just tell her that I really love her and miss her and want her to be happy and be home and safe with her family.
As of right now, there is a lot of information we still don't know. It's unclear who filed the missing persons report and if Jessica is alone or not. She is a mother of a 2-year-old daughter, and the whereabouts of the child are unknown at this time as well. The Sheriff's Office says if you have any information regarding Jessica's location, to contact the sheriff at 740-593-6633. Stay tuned to WOUB as more information becomes available. Environmental and safety authorities have more details about the Parkersburg Industrial Warehouse fire. The blaze began October 21st, lasting more than a week in an IEI Plastics property. The warehouse content list includes various types of plastic pellets. Right now, the company's cleanup plan is under review. The state will have to pay almost $1.5 million. A Nelsonville man has announced he will run for Ohio's 94th state representative seat. Democrat Taylor Sappington announced he will be challenging Republican Jay Edwards for the position. Edwards was elected back in 2016. Currently, Sappington is a member of the Nelsonville City Council. A formal event in Athens will help shed light on the opioid crisis and help a local women's recovery house. Chelsea Sick is live in the WOUB newsroom with more on the event. Chelsea?
Thanks, Lily. In a little less than 2 weeks, the Ohio University senior nursing class will be hosting a formal gala for the community. The goal is to inform the community on how to help those who are struggling with opioid addiction. All funds will go to a local women's recovery home that is opening in the coming months.
We'll just assume like this stigma of addiction is something that they choose to do, but it really isn't. It's a disease process.
The Ohio University senior nursing class is stepping up, working to show the community how the opioid crisis is taking a toll in Southeast Ohio. A formal event, the Purple Gala, will be an evening to shed a light on the opioid epidemic, discussing ways the public can help fight the opioid crisis.
If you're not a nursing student and you're just someone in the public and you see a drug overdose, like what does that overdose look like and what can you do?
Everything about the gala is focused on showing the impact of the crisis, even the decorations. Purple is the national color for opioid addiction awareness, But here, these three colors are going to describe how Athens residents have personally been affected by the opioid crisis. Dark purple means you have been personally affected by the opioid crisis in some way. Light purple means that you know someone or have heard of someone who has been affected by the opioid crisis. And white means you don't know anyone, but you still care. But that's not all. It will also raise money for Serenity Grove Women's House, a home for women on the road to recovery.
Need a place where they can go that's supportive, where they can really hone the skills necessary to deal with the challenges of addiction.
It's not open yet, but this fundraiser will bring Serenity Grove one step closer to opening its doors.
Every penny counts, and we're really excited about this initiative. It's as a nurse, I'm a retired nurse, it just kind of blows me away what the senior class has done this year.
And the nursing class has been counting those pennies, nickels, and dimes for the last 2 months, helping the community create one more way to fight a crisis that's affecting so many lives. Reporting for WOUB, I'm Chelsea Sick. Tickets are still available. One ticket includes a night of entertainment, education, and dinner with faculty, students, and the community. For more information on the event, visit woub.org/news. Reporting live for WOUB, I'm Chelsea Sick.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Hi everybody, I'm Nicholas Snyder. Weather-wise, a very gloomy day all across the area today, and as we take a look at the temperatures all across the area, still pretty gloomy out there right now. Temperatures are very cold. The cool spot in Cambridge at 37 and the warm spots in Columbus and Ripley at 40. Now our weather photo of the week showing what may be a preview for this coming weekend from Broadview Heights. This is some snow that fell on Sunday. And again, this may be a preview for the coming weekend, so just take a look at that from my cousin Jason. Now, as I said earlier, we're going to have a crazy week. Follow me on social media to receive weather updates, ask any weather questions, and enter your photos for the weather photo of the week contest, and the wrong graphic is up there. But as we take a look at the weather highlights for the upcoming weekend, we have a roller coaster weekend ahead. We start you out rainy and warm, but then we have a major cool down with some snow on Sunday. We'll talk all about that coming up in my full forecast.
The Ohio Senate has okayed a bill banning abortions based on the diagnosis of Down syndrome. Doctors who perform such abortions could face felony charges and the revoke of their license by the state medical board. However, the women receiving the abortions would not be punished. The House and Senate must now reconcile their versions. The execution of an Ohio inmate was called off yesterday because they couldn't find a viable vein. Alva Campbell was set to die for killing 2 teenagers during a Columbus carjacking more than 2 decades ago. The decision to postpone the execution came despite 3 exams within 24 hours that said veins were accessible, including one just minutes before the execution. Experts say this failed execution will lead to new challenges in the state's lethal injection process. West Virginia police caught a registered sex offender accused of stealing a vehicle. Bobby Nichols allegedly walked out of the Kanawha County Hospital only wearing a gown and fled the area in a delivery truck. Authorities say Nichols' wife was trying to get her husband a mental hygiene warrant. Nichols eventually ditched the van and was able to hide from the police until Wednesday afternoon.
We must have told half dozen people that because the houses are, about spread out up there. So that worked because right in that area is where we were canvassing.
Nichols is facing larceny charges. His bond is set at $25,000. Kentucky is planning on reopening a private prison in Beattyville. The Lee Adjustment Center will house 800 inmates that are currently housed at another prison in LaGrange. The contract with Nashville-based company Corsovic will cost taxpayers more than $16 million a year. Another Washington politician is being accused of inappropriate sexual conduct. This while the Republican tax reform is one step closer with the House passing its bill. Plus, more local stories when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere. Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
The House passed a Republican tax bill today, putting GOP leaders closer to delivering President Trump a crucial legislative feat. The House voted along party lines to approve the bill. However, the Senate side is showing signs of trouble. Their version is still in the works. It adds a repeal of the Obamacare individual mandate. Supporters say it brings more than $338 billion in savings. One Republican already says he's not on board.
I'm not for the current version. What I want to see is the information to prove the kind of economic growth we're going to get with all of our tax provisions.
If the bill passes, it would bring the biggest revamp of the U.S. tax system in 3 decades. President Donald Trump will be the corruption trial of New Jersey Democrat Senator Bob Menendez ended in a mistrial. The jury reported it is hopelessly deadlocked. The mistrial is a blow to the Justice Department, which has been investigating Menendez for nearly 5 years. It also leaves the senator without clear vindication he was hoping for in court. Menendez was accused of accepting lavish gifts from his longtime friend, Florida eye doctor Salomon Mangan, in exchange for political influence. New allegations of inappropriate sexual conduct by a politician makes waves today on Capitol Hill. Democratic Senator Al Franken is under fire for allegedly groping and kissing a woman without her consent. The senator wrote a skit during USO tour overseas back in 2006 for Leanne Tweeden. It called for the two to kiss.
And he stuck his tongue down my mouth, and I remember I pushed him off with my hands. And I just remember I almost punched him, because every time I see him now, like my hands clench into fists, and I'm sure that's probably why. And I said, if you ever do that to me again, I'm not going to be so nice about it the second time.
Senator Franken released a statement saying in part, quote, "I certainly don't remember the rehearsal for the skit in the same way, but I send my sincerest apologies to Leanne. As to the photo, it was clearly intended to be funny, but wasn't. I shouldn't have done that." Both Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says the Ethics Committee should review this matter. Franken says he will cooperate. Local Good Samaritans save a dog's life after finding him injured in the wood. That story still ahead.
And weather-wise, we've got a really crazy forecast coming up for the weekend, plus a look at your Thanksgiving Day forecast. That's all coming up on Newswatch after this break.
professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences. They want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere. Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm forecaster Nicholas Snyder. As I said earlier, a very gloomy day out there today, and we're still dealing with that gloom right now. 38 in Athens. Winds are out of the west at 2 miles an hour. The dew points are low, but the humidity is 70%, so pretty muggy out there, and the pressure is 30.21 inches and rising as we go throughout the day. So temperatures across the area generally in the upper 30s and lower 40s, the cool spot in Cambridge, at 37, and the warm spots in Columbus and Ripley at 40 degrees. Now, as we take a look at the big picture, we see this area of high pressure that's been dominating, and that's why we haven't seen so much rain today. That will eventually move off to the east, making way for this low pressure system off to the west. That's going to cause major havoc for the weekend as we see Saturday. Look at this mess. A ton of rain through the area, and it will eventually really cool us down. More on that in a minute, but first let's get you through tonight. So tonight we're going to drop you down into the lower 30s. We're going to clear you out as we go throughout the night, and the winds are going to be pretty calm at 5 to 10 miles an hour out of the west-northwest. Overnight lows will be dropping into the upper 20s and lower 30s. The cool spots in Columbus and New Lexington at 29, and the warm spot down in Ironton as usual at 33 degrees. So for the bus stop tomorrow, 31, partly cloudy skies. Those kids are going to need those coats, hats, and gloves. That's going to be pretty chilly. Winds, nothing much to deal with there, light and variable. But we will warm you up tomorrow. Look at this. We warm you up to 48, and we'll clear out. So it's going to be a pretty nice day tomorrow. Very seasonable, 47 degrees, partly cloudy. Winds, nothing much to deal with there, as I said earlier. Now, as we take a look at the weekend, we see pretty crazy forecast. We start you out at 60 on Saturday, but Saturday night we cool you down to 38. And look at this extended forecast. Just a crazy, crazy weekend ahead. So Friday, 48 degrees under partly cloudy skies. That's going to be the nice day for the weekend. Then Saturday, we're going to warm you all the way up to 60 with 90% chance of rain as that low pressure makes its way through. And then Sunday, we cool you down to 38, maybe an isolated snowflake, especially further north into the viewing area, a 20% chance of rain on Sunday. And then a pretty nice week ahead. We warm you up into the middle and upper 40s, and that Thanksgiving Day looking pretty good, a high of 44 with partly cloudy skies. Lily?
Thanks, Nicholas. I'm not ready for that snow. Hikers found a bleeding puppy alone in the woods in Jackson County, Ohio. Officials say someone shot the pup with an arrow, but thanks to Good Samaritans, that puppy is alive and well. Caitlin LeBeau has the story.
For a dog living at the pound, this sweet boy is friendly.
You can say he's a perfectly sweet dog, paw in the hand.
Friendly and trusting.
It's nice to know they feel safe.
Even though someone has given him a reason not to be.
When you see him thin like this, you know, you have to wonder what kind of life did he have prior to this.
He may not have had a life at all had hikers not spotted him in the woods Monday in the Cooper Hollow area.
When we actually saw him laying there, we thought he was dead. And we went up to him and he barely lifted his head.
Deb Fout, the Jackson County dog warden, says someone shot the pup with an arrow.
And this thing right here is razor sharp.
They carried the bleeding dog on a stretcher almost a mile out of the woods. His rescuers took him to Ohio Valley Animal Clinic.
I thought for sure he was, going to be almost dead or bleeding out or something like that. But
where Dr. Laura Perry says his survival is nothing short of a miracle.
I think he's going to be able to make a full recovery.
A small town pound doesn't have a lot of money.
Yeah, baby.
But when it comes to support, man, do they feel rich.
$400, I think, for his x-rays and his first round of antibiotics.
That vet bill, the community covered it.
Oh, thank you.
They've also been donating items for the pup in need.
This is Lucky David.
You can probably guess where the lucky part comes from, and David, named after the man who found him.
This isn't our job, this is our life.
Caitlin LeBeau, WSAZ News Channel 3.
This is who we are. This is what we do.
Jackson County, Ohio.
The warden says they're going to have a careful process to hopefully help Lucky David find a loving home. The Athens County Public Libraries are now offering free at-home delivery. With exception of bicycles, any item within the library's collection is eligible for delivery. You can sign up at any of the 7 ACPL branches or by calling the number 740-805-0385. The Ohio University Black Student Union, in partnership with the Black Student Communication Caucus, are dealing with the reality of implicit bias. The groups are holding a workshop this evening to discover their inherent biases and discuss how to deal with them. They are using the implicit association test. President of OU's Black Student Communication Caucus, Anya Morgan, says it will be a great opportunity for members.
It's going to be a safe space where we can talk about whatever there is that people want to talk about, and I think it'll benefit because we're going to talk about things like how we can combat these biases in professional settings and in everyday life.
We'll have the full story on this evening's workshop tomorrow on Newswatch.
And in sports, the MVP winners have been announced for Major League Baseball, and a player from both the Reds and the Indians were up for the awards. We'll let you know who won. And on the hardwood, the Ohio women's basketball team had a game this morning and they looked unstoppable. I'll tell you what went down when Newswatch returns.
Buddy, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back. I'm Paul Roth, and these are today's top stories. The Cleveland Cavaliers continued their newfound winning ways last night with a 115-107 victory over the Charlotte Hornets last night. LeBron James led the way with 31 points for the Cavaliers. An unlikely trio of reserves who stepped up big for the wine and gold were Kyle Korver, Dwayne Wade, and Channing Frye, who chipped in a combined 27 points off the bench. Over the Cavs' last two games, they have combined for a plus-minus of 30 over the 40 minutes they were on the floor together, leading Cleveland to their third straight win. And speaking of winning streaks, the Boston Celtics will put their 13-game winning streak on the line tonight as they welcome the defending champion Golden State Warriors to TD Garden. The Celtics currently sit atop the East with a 13-2 record, while the Warriors continue to rule the West at 11-3. Boston comes into the game touting the NBA's top-ranked defense, but this will be their biggest test yet, as the Warriors come in ranking first in points per game and by a wide margin. The game tips off tonight at 8 on TNT. And on the local hardwood, the Ohio women's basketball team dismantled the Notre Dame College of Ohio 93-37 this morning. Sierra Hooks and Gabby Burris led the Bobcats in scoring with 17 points apiece, and Taylor Agler chipped in with 10 assists. Now, the defense played a huge role for the Bobcats as they held the Falcons to only a 31% shooting percentage. And the Bobcats continue their season next Wednesday when they travel to Marshall. And over on the gridiron tonight, the Pittsburgh Steelers welcome the Tennessee Titans to Heinz Field in tonight's Thursday night football game. Both teams sit atop their respective divisions and come into the game putting a 4-game winning streak on the line. The last time these two teams squared off was 3 years ago when the Steelers pulled off a come-from-behind 27-24 victory. Kickoff is tonight at 8:25 on NBC. After 3 months of appeals, Ezekiel Elliott has finally decided to put his legal battles behind him and accept his 6-game suspension. The suspension was handed down in August by the NFL after Ezekiel's ex-girlfriend accused Elliott of domestic violence. He will now serve his suspension starting Sunday when the Cowboys face off with the division rival Philadelphia Eagles. And tomorrow night, the Columbus Blue Jackets will face off with the New York Rangers at Nationwide Arena. The Jackets fell to the Rangers 5-3 in their last matchup on November 6th. That was part of a 4-game skid for Columbus, but they bounced back recently, having only given up 2 goals in their last 2 contests. And the Rangers were dominated in their last outing against the Blackhawks, losing 6-3. Puck drops tomorrow night at 7. And the MLB MVP winners were announced just under an hour ago. Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Indians was up for the award in the American League, while Joey Votto of the Cincinnati Reds was a finalist for the National League. But ultimately, it was Jose Altuve of the Astros who won the honors in the AL, while Giancarlo Stanton of the Mariners took it for the NL. Altuve led the majors in batting average, while Stanton led with 59 home runs. Both players won the award for the first time. I'm Paul Roth, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Lily.
Thanks, Paul. The Pope Mobile got a major style upgrade for 2017. Pope Francis got a snazzy new Lamborghini. The special edition Lamborghini was a gift to the Pope. While these flashy wheels might look even better with the Pope behind the wheel, it's not meant for him to drive. The Vatican will auction off the vehicle to raise money for several charities. Pope Francis even signed the hood of the car, hoping to raise the value.
And weather-wise, again, the story for this weekend is going to be a wild one, but as we take a look at tomorrow, pretty nice. 47 degrees, partly cloudy and very seasonable, not really anything to do with in the winds department, and temperatures around the area, again, basically in the upper 40s, maybe an isolated lower 50 further south. And as we look at the extended forecast, a nice Thanksgiving day at 44 with mainly sunny skies. Lily?
Thanks, Nicholas. That does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Lily Bradley. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Buddy, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.